Hi everybody, it's Teacher Winnie here with a new book to read you. It's called Race Cars. I am reading this in a gallery in Seattle. It's called A.N.T. Gallery, and we'll talk about that later. But first, to the book. Look inside the cover. All sorts of different cars. Let's see what happens. This book is by Jenny Devenny. I think her name rhymes, which is very cool. This is about two friends that are both race cars. This is Chase. He's a black race car. This is Ace. Ace is a white race car. They live in a world with lots of other race cars. Big ones, small ones, short ones, tall ones, old ones, new ones, brown ones, blue ones. Lots of race cars. I don't think I've ever been to a car race. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. Have you ever been to one? There's a track that the cars go around, or maybe it's cross country and they have to go over hills and mountains and stuff. Chase and Ace have been best friends forever. For as long as they can remember, they have been training together for the world-famous annual race car race. Last year, they were finally old enough to enter the race. They've been working very hard to be in the race. For as long as anyone could remember, every year when the big race came around, a white car would win the race. That's kind of strange. Always one color car? A white car would win fourth place, third place, second place, and first place. Wait a minute. Until last year. Last year, Chase won first place. There's Chase, number one, first place. And Ace won fourth place. So fourth place, you don't stand on a podium, but he would be right after first, second, third, fourth. Fourth place. Sometimes competition can come between friends, but not for these two. Ace was so happy for Chase, and Chase was so happy for Ace. They loved to race, and they did not care about place. Now, do you have a good friend and sometimes you feel a little competitive? Do you know what that means? Maybe you want to do something better than they do, or maybe they can do something better than you can, and instead of being happy for them, you're kind of a little mad. It happens. It's okay. But really, we should be happy for everyone and try to help everyone. Yeah? Because whether you come in first or last doesn't matter in terms of being a good person or a good friend. Okay, so let's see. Oh, there were some cars that did care about place. These cars were on the race committee. Here's a round sort of table, and all the cars in the race committee are sitting there. They must be the committee that plans the race. Maybe they make the rules too. I only see one color car around that table. Do you? No one had ever seen them, but everyone knew who they were. They were a group of white cars that made all the rules for the annual race car race. When the committee heard about Chase winning, they were not happy. A black car had never won first place. They did not want things to change. You know, change is something that always happens. I'm different right now than I was a minute ago. You can't stop change, but they didn't want change. We have always given white cars the fastest tires and the most powerful engines, they roared. How could a black car have won? For the next race, the committee decided to change a few of the rules to make it easier for the white cars to win and harder for all the other cars. They all agreed except for one, Grace. Something about it didn't feel right to her. She was used to things not feeling fair. After all, Grace was the youngest committee member and the only girl. But she didn't say anything because everyone else felt so strongly. Think about that. First of all, does it seem like a fair rule to always make one color car win? And what about if you're sitting at a table or out in the playground or maybe at home, or with your friends, and they say something that doesn't seem quite fair to you. Should you speak up? I wonder. Next year rolled around and Chase and Ace were ready to race again. They had spent all summer training and they knew the route by heart. What does that say? Start. And there they are, all lining up, getting ready to go. Okay, let's see what happens this time. Chase started off faster than ever. He zipped around the track as the crowds cheered him on. Yay, Chase! Once around the track, straight through the cornfield, over the Blue Mountain, through the magical forest. Chase was getting ready to cross the bridge when he noticed a sign that had not been there before. I guess we have to go over a bridge in this race. Let's see what happens. Look what the sign says. Can you read that? Bridge is for white cars only. All other cars must go around the river. Chase paused for a second. That's strange. But he thought, well, he didn't want to waste any more time. Chase sped around the river as fast as he could and jumped over the finish line. Here he is. He doesn't get to go over the bridge, which is shorter over the river. He has to go all the way around to the finish line. Even without taking the bridge, Chase managed to come in second place. Ace came in first. Ace was so happy for Chase, and Chase was so happy for Ace. They loved to race, and they did not care about place. Wow, Chase must have been really fast if he came in second and he had to even go further than other cars. But back at home, something was bothering Chase. It just did not seem fair that a bridge was for white cars only. Was he not as good as the white cars? Was something wrong with him? He shrugged it off and decided to train even harder for next year. There he is in his garage. He's trying to think, I don't understand what happened exactly. Is there something wrong with me? And that's why they won't let me go on that bridge? Sometimes when things are unfair, it can make you feel like you're not good enough. But you are. The rules are not fair. What do you think? Back at Ace's house, Ace was snuggled up in bed. I guess they sleep in garages. Smiling, he did not expect to be faster than Chase. In their practices, Chase was always fastest. I must be getting faster. He's feeling very good about himself. When you win, it can really help your self-confidence. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of next year's race car race. And back at the committee, the white cars were still not happy that Chase had won second place. They decided to change even more rules to make it even easier for white cars to race and to win, and even harder for all the other cars to win. Grace didn't think it was fair, but she didn't want to lose her place at the table, so she stayed silent. She knows this isn't fair, but she's worried maybe they'll kick me off the committee, and I really want to be on the committee. That's a hard problem. I think we should think about it a little. We can talk about it later. The next year rolled around and Chase and Ace were ready to race. Here they are, getting ready at the start line. Chase started off faster than ever. He zipped around the track. The crowds cheered him on. There he is, zooming. Then he whizzed through the cornfields in record time. He made it to Blue Mountain in the blink of an eye. He is really working hard. He worked hard all year to get there. But at the top of the mountain, wait, what is this? A race officer stopped him. See that? There's the stop sign. Stop. At the very top of the mountain during the race. Pull over, please. I need to see some identification. Now, identification means I need to see that you have something that proves who you are. Chase paused for a second. That's strange, he thought. None of the white cars seemed to be getting stopped, but he did not want to waste any more time. He showed the officer his identification. Sometimes, for short, it's called ID. Show your ID. Like I have a driver's license, that might be my ID. Or sometimes you have a student card, that might be your ID. Or maybe a passport if you're traveling. Chase sped around the river as fast as he could and jumped over the finish line. But because the race officer stopped him, Chase did not place, and Ace came in first instead. So when you place, that's like first, second, third, fourth. If you're way in the back, you don't place. Do you think that was fair? Chase was happy for Ace because Chase likes his friend to win. But they were both upset about Chase's race. They loved to race and did not care about place, but the committee had just announced a new rule. Cars that did not place this year could no longer race next year. Next year, Chase would not be allowed to race. Oh my goodness, that makes me feel kind of sad. He's worked so hard. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Back at home, Chase was devastated. That means very upset. He did not care about place, but he loved to race. What would he do now? Chase could not help feeling that he was not as good as the other cars. He felt like something was definitely wrong with him. Why else would he not be allowed to race? That night, Chase cried himself to sleep. Oh my gosh, he's so sad. And instead of thinking that it might be the race committee, he's thinking like it must be me. Oh my goodness. Back at Ace's house, Ace was snuggled up in bed, but something did not feel quite right. He did not understand why Chase did not place. He's the fastest car I know. Next year would not be the same without his best friend. Chase was the reason that Ace liked to race in the first place. Ace sighed, shrugged his shoulders, and drifted off to sleep. Oh, here's the race committee meeting again. Back at the building where the race committee held their meetings, Grace tried to speak out against Chase being pulled over in the race. She knew it wasn't fair. Good for her for speaking out. And some of the members agreed, but others didn't. We need to change the rules of this race to make it fair and equal for all, said Grace softly. Fair and equal for all. Yes, we agree, whispered two more cars, but most remained silent and ignored her. They were afraid of change and did not want to lose their space at the table. I'm glad she spoke up, but other cars need to speak up too. Next year rolled around. Chase was at the race to cheer his best friend on. Ace started off faster than ever. He zipped around the track and the crowds cheered him on. Then he whizzed through the cornfields in record time. He made it up Blue Mountain in the blink of an eye. Notice he doesn't have to stop and show identification at the top of the mountain. Ace was heading for the magical forest when something made him pause. A fork road with two separate paths, one for white cars and another for all the other cars. Why have I never noticed this before? So do you see this sign? It says all white cars can go that way. All other cars have to go, look, through this very complicated maze. Ace wanted to know what was down the other path. He wanted to understand what the race was like for Chase. Ace took a right and went down the longer path instead of the shorter one. He sped off into the magical forest, faster and faster, until he realized he was lost. So this sign doesn't even make it possible to find your way to the end of the race. Look at that. Even if you get here, it doesn't intersect so you can keep going. Look at that carefully. You can end up in the middle of the forest. Ace is starting to understand what's been going on with his friend Chase and all the other cars that aren't white. Back at the track, the race committee was starting to get worried. All the cars had finished the race except for their star race car, Ace. Where could he be? The race officers looked everywhere but could not find Ace. The committee decided to hold a meeting to figure out the best way to find Ace. We need the fastest car, said one. The fastest race car should be able to find Ace. But Ace is our fastest car, said another. No, shouted a voice from the back of the room. The committee turned to see where it came from. It was Grace. And she could not stay silent anymore. This time they would listen. The fastest race car is Chase, even though we did not ever let Chase have a fair race, said Grace. Take down those unfair signs. If we let Chase race at his fastest pace, he will definitely be able to find Ace. Take down the stop sign on top of the hill for all the other cars who had to show the ID, but the white cars didn't. Take down the bridges for only white cars only. I said only twice. And take down the one that makes all the other cars go down that maze. Good for Grace for standing up. Have you ever stood up for a friend or for someone else when you knew it was unfair? It's a good thing to do, and it makes you feel good. Although Chase was still upset that the committee did not allow him to race this year, he quickly agreed to help save his best friend. Here I come, Ace, said Chase. He's going to go find him. He zipped around the track as the crowds cheered him on. Then he whizzed through the cornfields in record time. He made it to the Blue Mountain in a blink of an eye. It's really nice that he's going to go try to find his friend. When he got to the magical forest, he saw Ace speeding towards him. I'm sorry it took me so long to realize how much harder it was for you to win this race, Chase, said Ace. The best friends embraced. There's a lot of rhyming words in this book, aren't there? Ace, chase, race, embrace. That means hug. Embrace means they hugged. I'm not sure how cars hug, but I think that Ace realized how hard it was for Chase. So he understands what was going on more. Then together, Ace and Chase finished the race. Yay! And that's the end of the book. What do you think? What do you think about that? It seems to me to make a race really fair, all the rules have to be the same for all the players. No matter what gender they are. Do you remember what gender is? We talked about it. That's right, no matter whether they're girls or boys or gay or lesbian or trans or anything. All the rules should be the same if they're racing a car. Yes. And all the rules should be the same no matter what color the car is. That goes for people too, right? There's a lot to think about. It's also a wonderful story. I really like Chase and Race. They show how to be very good friends. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.